Let's queer up the worldview. Putin advisor says U.S. is brainwashing Ukrainian soldiers with gay sex to make super soldiers. An advisor to Russian President Vladimir Putin has claimed that Ukraine's military will become, quote, unified through gay sex, unquote, like the Greek Spartans. While the comment may seem bizarre, it's just the latest example of Russian authorities using anti-LGBTQ plus nationalist sentiment to justify its unprovoked war against Ukraine. Sergei Markov, a former advisor to Putin, while appearing on Russian TV, said the US and Ukraine will use Neuro-Linguistic programming and other brainwashing techniques to turn Ukrainian soldiers gay against their will. In reality, there's no evidence that psychological methods can change a person's sexual orientation. He said, quote, "They have an artificial political science fascism created by American and British political technologists. They will turn them into zombies, into cult members. I think they will force them to become homosexuals," end quote. There is some historical evidence to suggest that the Spartans of ancient Greece may have encouraged homosexual activity as a way to encourage soldiers to stay in the military and fight for their partners' lives. However, the most famous gay militia force in ancient Greece was actually not Spartan, but the Sacred Band of Thebes, an elite military force deliberately composed of 150 gay or bisexual couples that defeated the Spartans and murdered both Spartan kings in a single campaign. Regardless, Markov's comment may be less interested in historical accuracy and more interested in inspiring anti-LGBTQ plus disgust. Inspiring anti-LGBTQ plus disgust has been a recurring theme with Putin, unfortunately, and seeing how he's pushing this idea on American and Ukrainian soldiers to pull these people together and, once again, push a homophobic agenda is, a reoccurring theme that's not going to end anytime soon in my eyes.
Is anyone laughing in their head of all of the adjective descriptions that were used by
the science, fascism, whatever? It's very
filling word count.
Gay super soldier.
It is very much like adding a bunch of spaces and making the text white so you can meet a word count on an essay.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think this is what happens when you have what we are unfortunately veering towards in the United States, which is like state-controlled media, right? We have seen it sort of flew under the radar because it was thankfully so ridiculous for now that it did not pass. But we had a bill that was introduced that would have required critics of Ron DeSantis and other politicians to sign up with a registry in the state. Right? We are seeing, and obviously we're seeing all sorts of censorship that is passing into law. But we're seeing the censorship against freedom of press, freedom of speech, and academic freedom. And this is what that results in. Right? When you have a single party that is controlling the information that goes out, you get ridiculous buffoonery like this.
And Putin started this whole war by doing the same kind of thing. He said that they were inbreeding Nazis and that he was there to cleanse them. And now it's going to be the LGBTQ community and it's going to be gay people that are going to be super soldiers, and we have to get rid of all this zombies. Zombies that he's creating, in people's minds that, oh my God, we need to fear them because everything that they do there is bad. Yeah. And that's been his mantra since the start of this war.
Note to self personally, I've got to read more about Thebes. I want to know more about what's going on in Thebes. I'm going to Greece this fall with many people from South Florida. And I want to learn more about
There's a Spartacus or something.
I'm going to.
He was born there.
What is so funny about this story is somebody that would use words like zombies. We've all referenced them in this story. There are so many jokes running in my head. The only thing is, in all of the jokes that are running through my head, it's really not funny. And that's what I hear you just say. Because the humor here is completely lost in the seriousness of the radical crazy of the words that you're using. And for me, first, you wonder, why would they characterize this in the way that they're doing? And quickly you get to the conclusion that they're doing that in Russia to help justify their actions against another sovereign nation using homophobia as their justification. Because they're sitting thinking, well, wait, if we other them enough, we gain support of the illegal actions that we're taking in the Ukraine. And then, after you consider that, and Glenn and I have talked about this so many times, don't you wonder, in the last 100 years, have we ever seen this before? Well, yes. Then you begin to wonder, well, I wonder what the jokes were in 1932 and 1933 about the Jews. They start with the ridiculousness of the character stereotypes of the Jews, which Germans generally probably thought were funny. Like this, zombies and gay super soldiers, until it's no longer funny because you realized that was the platform to get them to the conclusion that happened by 1941. And that's what Russia's doing.
Right. Yeah. No. Exactly. That's exactly what we're seeing. Is this brainwashing? The brainwashing is the brainwashing of the Russian people, again with state-controlled media.
Yeah. We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ+ community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.